Matt Wilton here. Hi everyone. I hope you're all really well. Just speaking to a Maguire person tonight, Rob Lecky, who's, I believe, in the waiting room. So I need to bring him in a bit differently from what we've done in the past. But anyway, hopefully we'll have Rob with us very shortly in the webinar, talking about his life as a stammerer. Rob Lecky, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. If you can turn your camera on, that would be great.
Sorry, the camera's normally on.
Okay. It had to be the last one of the series that had to do this, didn't it?
I'm sorry,
So your
mate.
okay.
I can see you. Let me see.
Sorry about this, everybody. Technical hitch. Do you want to leave and try and log back in again?
Yeah, I'll try again, Matt. Okay.
Okay, no problem. While we're waiting, I wonder if is putting this person on the spotlight here. There's a new student who's just completed his first Maguire course that's logged in to watch this. And he only completed his Maguire course a few days ago. Alex, is it okay, or is it okay if I have a quick chat with you? If I could bring you in quickly to the meeting? It might be quite nice. He's not going to like this. Matt Wilton. Alex, are you here?
Alex Bass Phillips.
Hello. That's a shock. Do you mind the fact that I've just brought you in? You only did your first course finished yesterday.
Yes.
Are you okay to have a chat with me just briefly until we try and get Rob back?
Of course.
Okay. So yeah, you did your first course last week, as early as last week. How did you find it doing the online course?
It was absolutely amazing. Really, really loved it. It was tricky and challenging. The workshop in particular was well out my comfort zone,
Mm,
but it was an amazing experience, to be honest.
mm. Excellent. So, what was your stammer like before you joined the program?
My stammer was covert, so I would avoid situations and try not to say my feared words all the time. It was absolutely exhausting for me.
Mm. And you had similar words and sounds that I struggled with, didn't you? What were they?
Yes.
E's and D's.
But B's, the D's, and more recently, loads more. So I thought I need to work on this because very soon I won't be able to say much at all.
Mm.
So I joined the Maguire program.
Well, it'd be really nice to have a longer chat with you sometime if you're willing to do that.
Of course.
It's quite a nice little stopgap, and thank you for being so brave as to be dragged straight onto a live webinar. I do appreciate it, and yeah, enjoy the rest of it, and I'll look forward to speaking to you tomorrow night for our catch up. All right?
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Bye for now.
Bye for now. Okay. That's Alex gone. Fair play to the young lad. So, welcome, Rob Lecky. It's nice to see you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you, Matt.
Good. Had a busy day?
Yeah, normal stuff. Dog keeps me busy and played a bit of golf this afternoon. So yeah, nice.
It's a nice lifestyle, isn't it? Thank you.
Retirement for you. That's retirement.
Thank you for coming on tonight. It's really nice to see you, and you've been on the Maguire program a while now, as I'm aware. But can we, for first of all, can you remember any of your childhood when you struggled with your speech, or what was it like for you?
Well, my father was in the army, and we traveled around quite a lot. He was posted different places, and I started school at the age of 5, and had to catch a bus on my own, which is quite probably traumatic for a child. But I wasn't in school very long because I developed Perthes disease, where you have your both legs in plaster, and
Cool.
it takes about 18 months to 2 years to repair itself. So the school at the time could not support this, so they basically sent me home, and I didn't attend school for about 18 months to 2 years. So within that time, apparently, that's when I started my stammering. So maybe the trauma of the whole thing kicked something off, really, mate.
So what kind of stammer did you have? Was it severe? Was it quite mild, or what?
Yeah, a block. I had quite a severe block, and when I went to speak, just all sort of seized up and couldn't get a word out, and so used lots of tricks around that.
Can you remember what sort of tricks you used to use? Was this to try to get the words out, was it?
Yeah, I would try to replace words, the start of words with different syllables then, how so my parents said. I can't remember much about it myself, not the early years, but certainly from primary school, when we had to read out in primary school as an example, to wait for my turn, and just couldn't get anything out basically. So they would move on to the next pupil, and that's what leave me out. So it was that severe, really. Yeah.
How much did it affect you then at that age, would you say?
Oh, I struggled, although I was a very happy child. I think didn't really take things home with me or moan about it, but looking back now as an adult, yeah, it must have affected me pretty bad. Psychologically, yeah.
So you went back to school after missing quite a gap.
Yeah.
So did you go on to secondary school? What happened after that?
Yeah, so I basically, the junior school part of it I missed out on, and went straight into primary school, which was another location where my father settled when he got the army, which is Cardiff. I started school there and met new friends, because I had to meet new friends because my father was posted different places all the time. So yeah, I met new friends there, and as far as I was a little bit behind with my education. I struggled there because I hadn't been to school for 2 years, missed out on the most important part, I think, of a young child's life, where they learn the basics, and struggled educational as well in the first few years. So it was like a bit of a catch up for me, really. But my speech was bad, was poor, and I really struggled at that stage in primary school, which led me on to then comp, where I struggled there as well.
For me, being a stammerer as well, that secondary school was the hardest time for me because people picked up on it and used to take the mickey out of me. And what was it like for you during secondary school? It was tough.
Yeah, it was tough, Nick. It was tough. I had a handful of friends which were fairly good. They didn't take the mickey out in front of me, but I had a lot of older boys in school who took the mickey, and I ended up fighting and all sorts, so
Mm-hmm.
and it really led me down a path of, not that I was a troublemaker, but I felt I had to defend myself and stand up for myself. And my parents' advice was just walk away, just ignore it, but I just couldn't. I couldn't, and ended up fighting in school and that sort of thing. But got into sport, which was great because that helped me get my frustrations out when I played a lot of sports. So that was good as well.
Wow. So what was your speech like? I mean, did you have any siblings? What was your speech like with them and with your parents?
I had an older sister, which didn't have a speech problem. And then there was a bit of a gap. There was me in the middle, and there was a bit of a gap of 7 years, and my younger sister was born. And she developed a stammer as well. But when she was younger, she got over it quite quickly, whereas mine
Wow.
stuck.
Mm.
My father was a military man. He was a regimental sergeant major, so quite a strict guy.
Yeah.
I suppose when I seen him in uniform when I was a younger, and walking through the door and with his pay stick and all that business, and looked up at him. Wouldn't say that I was nervous of him, but I think maybe I gave him a bit too much respect. And although they tried hard to help me with my speech, sent me to speech therapists, various speech therapists, which didn't work. I remember my mother used to get very frustrated with me, and when I was trying to speak, she would sometimes shout, "Come on, get it out, and all that, which obviously never helped the situation. So, yeah, difficult times, really.
So did you have any speech therapy as a child or not?
Yeah, I went as a child to various speech therapists, and then there was when I was about 15, they sent me to Cardiff Council, decided to have like a 2-week course, a block course for stammerers in Cardiff, which they thought it would do them a world of good, where they'd have a block course rather than have a day here, a day there. or a morning or an hour here, hour there. So I turned up to this speech course, and a lot of different stammerers on there, all age 15, 16. And yeah, that was quite good, but it didn't do me any good. It was better being around lots of stammerers, different stammerers, because I felt more in with people. So yeah.
Okay, so that didn't help. So did you have you obviously left secondary school or comprehensive school, and what did you do then after that?
Right. Well, I probably made not the best decision for my speech wise, but I tried to follow in my father's footsteps. So at the age of 16, I joined the army.
Fair play.
And when I went to the station in Cardiff to get on the train on my first day, one of the lads there was from that 2-week speech course.
No way.
Yeah. A guy called Mark Cadgett, and he went through basic training with me. His speech was not a block, it was more of a repetitive.
Yeah.
And he was a lot more confident than me, but I wasn't as confident as him. So basically, got on the train, joined the army, and wow, bang, it hit me. There would be every morning, there would be room inspections where you'd have to stand by your bed, and the sergeant and sergeant major would come round, stop at you, and you'd have to say your name, rank, and number. And stood to attention, blocked. They stood there, looked at me very strangely, and started screaming in my face, "What's wrong with you? Why can't you say your name, rank, and number?" So I finally said I had a bit of a speech problem, which I didn't want to admit to them because I was afraid of being rejected and kicked out of the army, and
yeah,
I didn't want that.
Weakness.
So that was very difficult. Yeah.
Wow.
So it got easier, and I started to. My friend who was on the 2-week course with me, he just said, "You're not breathing, Rob. You're not breathing at all. You just." And he told me what he did, and I tried to mimic him, and that helped a little bit. And I was able to, on times, get my name, rank, and number out. I was able to get through basic training. Yeah.
Okay. So how long were you in the army for, or what happened after that?
So I spent 6 months basic training, then joined my battalion, which is then based in Aldershot, and eventually spent 6 years in the army. I really enjoyed the army, loved the physical aspect of it, the soldiering, loved every part of it. But as I was going on year after year, struggling with my speech, holding me back, I knew that I wasn't going to get promotion due to it. It was holding me back. I couldn't go on any of the courses to get promoted because it was just too challenging on my speech. So I basically did a lot of sports. I boxed for the army. I played rugby for the army, and got by that way, got myself a really good name of being, a good sportsman, good boxer, and lived off the back of that name. And then when it came to me, either signing on for another 3 years. I decided to come out to 6 years because I just couldn't bear seeing the guys around me get promotion and me being left behind. I thought, well, I'm not going to get anywhere in the army, so I might as well come out.
Jeez.
So I came out.
Okay, well, we'll just pause there a second. I just want to say, if anyone's got any questions that they'd like to ask Rob, if you want to message me them, I can read them out to him at the end. It'd be really good if you did have some questions. But so, Rob, you came out of the army. What did you do then?
Well, on my release, I had a chance of some courses to help me into Civvy Street. So I decided to do my HGV, drive trucks, because it wasn't challenging speech-wise. Yeah, so done that, passed my test, got myself a job as a driver, and drove for a living for a couple of years. And within that 2 years, we had to report once every 6 months because you were on the reserve list.
Mm-hmm.
And when we reported, on one of the occasions, they were recruiting for 2-1 special forces. And I thought, oh, I killed to do something like that. So I signed up to do 2-1 special forces, which is the reserve part of the SAS. And as again, got on really well, I was really far in the course. Towards the end of the course, I was interviewed and blocked, and they said, well, sorry, we can't have someone who has a speech impediment like yours. It could cost someone's life on the radio if you can't call it in. I was just like devastated, absolutely devastated at that time. So because I knew physically, mentally, I was strong enough to do it. And yeah, that was tough, that was. So I went back to driving.
Jeez, so that's a couple of things that you really excelled at in life that you couldn't fulfill because of your speech. So you went back to driving, and did you think about getting any help for your speech at all, or not?
Well, my parents went to a wedding, and they came back and they said that one of the distant cousins who got married, he had a bad speech impediment. And he stood up and done his speech, and he was fine. So they approached him after the wedding and spoke to him about his speech. And he said he'd been on a course, which was up in Scotland, and it was called the Andrew Bell course.
Oh, yeah.
I come back and they told me about this course, and my parents paid for me to go on this course, and I went up to Scotland, a place called Kirkcaldy, and spent a week with Andrew Bell. And in all fairness, I came back very, very fluent, and I thought my speech was cured, because what he advertised on his website and his media was stammering cured. And I thought, right, okay. So I came back from Scotland and realized that I could speak and say my name, and it just made me think about other things I could do in life. I was too old to go back in the army, so I did some management courses in transport and distribution, and eventually worked my way up to a transport manager, where I stayed for basically 35 years. It was in those years of being a transport manager where, and the Andrew Bell course was fine for a while, but it definitely wasn't a cure. And I started to struggle again, especially in meetings and phone calls. And we were taken over by a major company called Wincanton. And I thought, right, I really need some more help here. So I did a bit of research, and I noticed on a website the Maguire program, and applied and went on my first course in 2005 in Swindon, and sort of never looked back since.
So 2005, I remember I was running the courses then. So
Was
what was it like for you? I mean, can you remember what the course was like, your first course?
yeah, very, very well, as if it was yesterday.
Can you?
The course started. Rich Winker was the course instructor. I thought he was brilliant, very motivating guy.
Natural, isn't he?
Natural,
Actor, yeah.
motivating people, trying to get them to think in a sports mentality, which I had from my sporting background anyway. There was a lot of stammerers there. A lot of people who had a lot worse stammers than me, because I had tools from my previous course to help me, and I managed to say my name, where I was from on the opening videos. But others couldn't even say their name. I realized how bad I was before I had that first original course with Andrew Bell. And started to breathe in, and I just really opened my mind up to this new way of speaking. I didn't think that it was strange in any way, didn't question it, didn't question anyone. I thought, well, the people up there which are running the course are ex-stammerers, and if I can speak like that, I'd be very happy. So just went along with the course, and I found it absolutely brilliant. I think the thing that sticks out for me the most with the Maguire program is the backup, is the network behind it. And when you come home from a course, you're on a high, and hit the ground running, and you have a coach, and you have local meetings, you can speak to the directors. It's great, yeah. And it really, really helped me move on leaps and bounds in my speech, and went on in Wincanton, got promoted to a contracts manager, where I was in charge of a contract that sort of involved presentations nearly every day with the customer, and my speech came on leaps and bounds. It's hard work. It's hard work for everyone, but if you don't put in the hard work, you just don't get the results. Simple as that.
I was going to say about the hard work, because I found it incredibly hard, probably the hardest thing I've ever done. And I didn't go in the army though, so but you're saying it was also hard work for someone like you as well.
Oh, definitely hard work. The course itself, I think it's long. It's long days, and sometimes you question, why is it so long? You know, I just need rest because it's all day long. But once you finish a course, you understand why and how and what they're doing.
So,
and you don't really realize or understand the full concept of the course until you do a couple of courses. And then it really, really sinks into what it's all about. And then 6 months after my first course, I did my coaching course in Swindon with yourself.
Yeah. So you did the coaching course. You become a coach on the program. What did that involve, or can you remember? Can you tell anyone that doesn't know what coaching is all about what you had to do?
Well, you had to really understand the book, which was the laws, directions, really understand that to be able to explain that to new students that you had. That was hard work. I found the coaching course hard, mentally, like quite draining. But the reason I wanted to do that course because I felt that I had a goal in life to try and help and support new students coming onto the program. I just wanted to be part of that because I seen what you coaches did and course instructors, and I thought I just want to be part of that to try and help and support other people now.
Yeah, it's great. It's great that, you know, because you've got that stammering mentality or stuttering mentality, you know how it feels, you know what it was like for you. And I think that really helped me on my first course, thinking that I was being supported by people that had gone through the same similar journey to what I'd be going through. Okay? And you're right, the support network is key to the success long term, really. So okay, so you've recently done a speech, haven't you? You haven't been as active on the program. Then you were back a little bit, doing a few things. You had a big speech to give.
Yeah, so yeah, I wasn't as active on the program. Part of my role as my contracts manager was going around the country with the customers and just lost touch a little bit. And I was, during COVID last year, I was made redundant from Wincanton, and my daughter, the youngest daughter, got married in the July just gone. I was really, really worried because when I was made redundant, it knocks your confidence. It doesn't matter who you are or what you do. You go into a mindset, why me? What have I done wrong? There's nothing to do what you've done wrong. It's just you're a number at the end of the day and you're a figure. So I had to get my head around that. The confidence then knocked my speech. Speech went down. The circle of something. And I decided, right, I need excuse me, bit of help and support with this. I got a big day coming up. My daughter's getting married. I don't want to let her down, and I want to do her proud. So I got in contact with yourself, and you explained about the Zoom calls and the morning warm-ups, and as soon as I went on my first morning warm-up, it was like a switch going off in my head, and from then I've not looked back again. I'm determined to keep up with it. I do regular morning warm-ups. The wedding was great. I was very nervous a couple of weeks before, but by the time I got to the day, I'd done so much work on my speech that I was quite high, and I knew I could do it. And my daughter wanted me to go first to speak, so I didn't have to wait my turn. So I got up and did a brilliant speech. I must say myself.
You went down well then, did it? Yeah.
It went really well, and a lot of people after the speeches, while you're talking about, people said, "Oh, you've done a fantastic speech. Where did you learn to speak so well?" And they asked if I was a public speaker and all that, because you're far better than my son-in-law, his father, who's a lecturer. Just said you were just by far, you control the floor so well and you speak so well. So yeah, a lot of comments from people, which was great.
Wow, that must have been a great feeling as well, and especially
I was on cloud nine, Matt. Cloud nine. Yeah.
Such an important thing in your life and your daughter's life, and for you to be able to do that. And I've heard of a lot of people who sadly joined the program who couldn't speak at their own wedding or couldn't speak at their son or daughter's wedding. So, and that's not good. That's just not right.
No. Yeah.
Hold back like that.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on. It's been great to hear your background, especially in the army as well. And yeah, really good that you're back involved again in the program. So yeah, thank you for everything. I think Finn has put a comment on here saying he knows how you feel. Keep up the hard work. So yeah, fair played, Finn. I think he's a young lad who's put his hand up. I think it's a young lad who. Oh, there's a question, I think, coming in. Is there? I don't know. Perhaps there's not. Let's have a look. Someone's got their hand up still. Anyway, yes, so we will leave it there, but thank you very much for coming in and coming on. That's the last one now until the new year. So we'll try and are you okay to put these on YouTube? I might get these up there somewhere.
Yeah, it's not a problem. It's been a pleasure. Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on, Robert. You're always up for a challenge.
Certainly am.
All right. Thanks for your time. See
Thank
you
you,
soon.
Matt.
Bye for now.
Thank you, everyone, for listening in. Thank you.